Oh. Allora, sette libri, no? E diciamo stati grandi. Ah, Hello, everyone. Let's go by Kaya, Rogova, Pirko, Polina, Daniel. You are always first comer. Many thanks throughout this semester for your effort to listen to this lecture. And many of you have diligently worked on summary, and I appreciate that. And I think those summaries will help you a lot in your future research and other courses. Today, I will begin first and the last lecture on North Korea. And North Korea is going to be the last topic for North Korea. Okay. Um, okay. This is the seminar conducted at OECD under the title of North Korea, the last transition economy. It was held several years ago already, and it is, I think, best review paper on North Korea. So I want to share first North Korea paper, review paper, by conducted by um, two authors, Vincent Cohen and Jin-won Bum. And Vincent Cohen happened to work for Russia desk at IMF when I was visiting scholar at IMF and many, many years ago, probably 1980s, 1987, 88. So Vincent Cohen remembered me, and when he switched to OECD, working with Jin-won Bum, Korean representative of OECD, they invited me as the first speaker on North Korea. And it is their document reviewing North Korea. So it's worth we share their document. They argue that in case of Joan Robinson, 1965, Korean miracle after short visit to Pyongyang and Hamhung, Joan Robinson, kind of left oriented scholar from England. She speak very highly of Pyongyang authority. It's Korean miracle, a nation without poverty. Everyone is adequately provided with food, clothing, shelter, care, and educational opportunities. After 50 years, I. Green, it's Berkeley economist from US, North Korea's rapid post-war industrialization is ahead of South Korea by the mid-1960s. So not only John Robinson, Ian Green, they speak very highly of North Korea's achievement. South Korea grew very rapidly, but real GDP in North Korea is reportedly lower than in 1990. Widespread chronic undernourishment is reported against this evaluation. North Korea has not published any regular national account statistics since 1960s, nor any budget information in level terms since the early 1980s. South Korea's Ministry of Unification, North Korea's GDP growth during the 1980s, tried to estimate. Bank of Korea, North Korea's GDP and national income using South Korea's relative prices since 1990. By the way, Bank of Korea's two staffs joined me, and we wrote a manuscript on North Korea's capital stock and GDP, and that is in circulation for journals, but I try to send you to read as a text. North Korean economy in the 1990s, a severe recession due to the imposition of Soviet Union sanctions, implosion of Soviet Union, China's demand for market prices of their exports, the death of Kim Il-sung in 1994, and its aftermath. So North Korea economy had a hard time in the 1990s. Some order of magnitude as in some of the former Soviet bloc nations. For example, Dvorak and Cohen, as written, and 100,000 people died of starvation and illness between 1994 and 1998. We call Arduous March. Stefan Haggard and Marcus Nolan, two North Korea specialists, and Tudor and Pearson both argued that 1994-1998 was a very difficult period of time, arduous march for North Korea. The Bank of Korea estimates North Korean economy slowly recovered from 1990. Several downturns due to sanctions after nuclear tests in 2006 and 2009. Annual GDP growth during 1999, arduous march. After that, 2016 is roughly 1.4%. 4% in 2016 due to strong mining and agricultural activity. However, following the fourth nuclear test in January 2016, the international sanctions followed, major trade items dropped, real GDP dropped by 3.5% in 2017 and 4.1% continuously negative growth in 2018. Some order of magnitude as in some of the former Soviet bloc nations. Dvorak and Cohen and 100,000 people died of starvation and illness between 1994-1998, arduous march. The Bank of Korea, North Korean economy slowly recovered from 1999, and so forth. The service sector steady development, manufacturing stagnated past 2 decades, marketization, dollarization, yuanization, euroization means all the market transactions were used for dollar, yuan, or euro. Foreign market, foreign currency supported commerce, foster construction and tourism, but cement production fell since 2016. The mining industry over 10% of GDP, coal production dropped by 42%, other routes, port facility and road transfer stations dropped. The stagnation in manufacturing, concentration of investment in the defense sector, spending on military averaged 23% of GDP between 2010 and 2016. Manufacturing heavy industry, large decline in output after sanctions. So continuous decline in manufacturing capacity. For example, you can take information sources for the North Korean economy. This is a general information source. You estimated GDP level and growth rate, for example, real GDP growth rate with this mark sharply declined as we approach to 2017. This is production trends by sector. Only service sector takes some positive trend. Other than that, all mining, heavy industry, agricultural, forestry, and mild recovery. Other than that, Department of Transportation, light industries, everything is downward, as you see. Mining too. Construction too. Its recent statistics is only after 2017. We don't know what happened during pandemic period. We don't know what happened post-pandemic period. Cement production kept increasing, but since 2018, isolation policy, US sanction applied, everything dropped. Okay. Cement production too. So food shortages 2 decades after the famines of 1990s. Food shortages remain serious prior to 1990s. Population received food and necessities through PDS, public distribution system, allocation system. Unraveled, locally informal markets, 장마당 had to come out as a substitute because they couldn't have public distribution system ready. FAO, WTF, WFP 2000 report, 2018-2019 report says 12% down, lowest level since 2008. Actual food shortfall is 1.36 million tons. India, US $1 million to the WFP. South Korea, 50,000 tons of rice, but refused. UN Green Climate Fund approved US dollar 75,000 through FAO. For poor drainage and irrigation system and poor incentive management made North Korea continuously in shortage of food. According to FAO WFP, 40% of total population, about 11 million people suffered from food shortages. Home et al. Estimates 57% of population are food insecure in 2019. So North Korea ranks 92nd out of 117 countries in the global hunger index. International sanctions do not cover food, uphold food supply and stabilize prices. Cereal purchases from China, US dollar 100 million per annum, and around US dollar 30 million per annum in 2016-2018 to avoid food price increase after 2009. Currency reform encouraged imports. Coronavirus outbreak pushed up price of rice import from China, according to Khan. So here is a FAO, WFP, total utilization, food use, seed, rice, maize, wheat, and barley, and so forth. Domestic availability, 1.88. And import requirement is as large as this. And uncovered deficit is very large. Therefore, there are continuous food supply bottleneck, continuous food shortage in North Korea. Natural disaster in recent years, you can list series of heavy rain and drought and disasters. The rice price and the market exchange rate after the 2009 currency reform, continuous rice price increase. Of course, exchange rate continues to increase. Exchange rate developments. North Korea allowed multiple exchange rate system and allowed 2013 black market rates for wider transactions, dollarization and yuanization, or in other words, foreign currency-based transaction movement. In July 2002, as part of price reform, North Korea won has been depreciated by 70 times to 150 Korean won per US dollar, overvalued KPW, continuous depreciation. And by 2018, 8,000 KPW. Electricity bills charged in dollar in some part of Pyongyang because of this heavy depreciation. They cannot accept electricity bills in terms of Korean won because overnight US dollar increased by 100% or 200%. So they used yuan, euro, US dollar, Japanese yen are more popular in transactions like taxi fee. The widespread use of foreign currencies may exchange monetary policy of very challenging monetary policy of North Korea as experienced by Eastern European countries and Soviet Union during their transition period. the huge gap between official exchange rate and market exchange rate, a corrosive factor. Incentives for private sector work paid by hard currency, bribes, no incentive for public work. So exchange rates, as you can see, very unstable, and official exchange rate get adjusted, and market exchange rate notes continuous depreciation, and then after all, kind of stabilize. Shares of currency, 93% North Korean won. For shares of currency from 2013, North Korean won only played 43%, Chinese yuan dominantly 52.5. Okay. So primary energy supply, for example, petroleum has peaked 2016 and since then continued to decline. Hydropower peaked 2016 and continues to decline. Coal continues to decline. Petroleum continues to sharply decline. Hydropower declined since 2016. Other sources rapidly decline. So this is North Korea's economic situation. Electricity, for example, hydro, electric power, thermal power, local generation. This is the North Korean peninsula by right, by night in 2016. Only around Pyongyang, but even including Pyongyang, the entire North Korea has no light. Very contrasting with full of light in southern Korea. So transport infrastructure shortcomings, almost no improvement in North Korea transportation infrastructure over the past 50 years. The situation even worse outside Pyongyang area, notwithstanding Chinese upgrade of bridges and roads near border. North Korean ships 90% of domestic freight by rail, South Korea ships 92% by road. Total length in North Korea 5 to 89 kilometers longer than in South Korea, but inefficient and late because of power cuts. Pyongyang subway system built in the 1960s, 2 lines with 17 stops only. 2 fields Pyongyang subway system built in the 1960s, 2 lines, 17 stops only. 2 field studies by South Korea and North Korea on the UN approval. Sinŭiju line and Gyeonggang Tuman River line. Overall conditions of tracks and tunnels are very poor. So agreements between the Koreans and transport links, 2 Koreans on transport links. There were some agreements, but it is almost sterile. No agreement has been reached since then. So it's kind of dead end. North Korea withdrew unilaterally from Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty in 2003 and has conducted a number of nuclear tests and longer-range missiles. UN Security Council has extended sanctions against North Korea. Prior to 2016, it covered conventional armament and weapons of mass destruction. Therefore, thereafter, UN expanded their scope to include general trade transactions and economic cooperation. Allowed crude oil imports only 4 million barrels annually, and refined oil imports up to 0.5 million barrels. But as we all know, these were ignored. And always North Korea had to increase more than these barrels of sanctions. Financial transactions and economic cooperation were also restrictions, and North Korean workers were to be returned by the end of 2016, causing shortage in foreign currency in North Korea, because their income was the almost only source of foreign currency, but all North Korean workers had to return by the end of 2019. US Congress in 2016 adopted the North Korean Sanctions and Policy Enhancement Act, which prohibits the provision of goods and technology service and financial transactions of goods subject to sanctions. It also includes a potential secondary boycott with business in US in illegal transactions with North Korean individuals and firms. US designated North Korea as a primary money laundering concern in 2016 and state sponsor of terrorism in 2017. In September 2016, the US first imposed secondary sanctions on Chinese companies against illegal transactions with North Korea. In 2008, US sanctions on Singaporean companies. Japan suspended all trade with North Korea after the 2006 nuclear test. So this is the sanction-related situation. South Korea stepped up sanctions on tourism, general trade, and Kaesong Industrial Complex when a tourist was killed in Mount Kumgang area in 2008. In 2010, Hanan warship bombardment by North Korea, drastic reduction in the inter-Korean trade, North Korea's fourth nuclear and long-range missile test in 2016, shutdown of Kaesong Industrial Complex. North Korea tried to circumvent the situations, the sanctions. Bonda's reports in 2018, North Korea received 26 free deliveries of oil ship-to-ship transfers, illegal, of course, mostly from China. Estimated official crude oil imports are flat after sanctions. So main UN Security Council resolution on North Korea is as much as this. Okay, so this is main UN Security Council resolution on North Korea. And trade with other Asian countries For example, North Korea is with the other Asian countries. China only very large volume, but even that volume shrinks, reduced to very light. South Korea is almost diminished. And the trade between North Korea and China still dominant, but in general, trade value decline, even with China. Changes in exports and imports after the tightening of sanctions. You can see export is falling sharply, and incoming exports is almost reduced. You can see sharp falling imports, falling imports. So trade balance is imports has been always greater than exports, and near 2018, imports only, no exports. Very bad news. Evolution of the sectoral structure. Sectoral structure, service sector still stable, but uh, agriculture, forestry, and fishery still downward trend. Heavy industry is also downward trend. Central government, economic zones created. Local government, economic zones created. But it was not very effective. Daily market fees per stall in general markets kept increasing, which is the sign of kind of a stall, like marketing trend. It can be put on food, it can be put on clothing, the stall, and price of a stall continued to rise or stopped rising. That means marketing was not good by stall. Selected general markets in North Korea. You can take a look at. Kaesong Industrial Complex was very active and a very positive sign, but almost destroyed by North Korea over this dispute. So even small hope by Kaesong Industrial Complex had to be denied. UN panel of experts, FOWFP, sanctions hinder the delivery humanitarian aid and the imports of fuel, machinery, and spare parts needed in agriculture. So mirror statistics fail to capture smuggling of oil weapons concealed under sugar bags, dual-use industrial equipment, high-end cars, etc., via Russian Far East area. So Japan suspended all trading in 2006. South Korea in 2016. Recently, there was a movement, as you saw, Japan and North Korea had some kind of earlier agreement. To my estimate, two nations had the potential and can avoid South Korea, North Korea dependence. So whatever means, I don't care. If it is opening to North Korean market, I think it should be supported. North Korea's trade dependence on China increased from 50% to 95.8%. So monopoly-like situation with North Korea, China trade statistics. This is very bad. China dependence and North Korea's dependence on China became larger than ever after sanctions. And this is not good indicator. This is petroleum trafficking. This is trade with Asian countries. All do not provide healthy North Korean statistics. For example, exports were falling. Falling imports. Of course, imports should be falling. Trade balance is worsening up until 2018, I don't know what happened after 2008. Light industry, services, for example, agriculture and forestry, basic industry is downward trend. Everything is downward. Trade balance is worsening. I don't know how North Korea can maintain their trade balance without arms deal, the arms export, and so forth. Special economic zones were created before 2018 by central government. 2013, central government this and local government this. But daily market fees per stall in general markets. Stall means kind of, you can put some vegetables, you can put some your choice items on the stall. And the daily market fees per stall in general markets indicates how much you need to put. Import shoes, 12,000. For meat, 7,500. So then much stall is making North Koreans very difficult to get the items. This is central market in North Korea around mid 2015, 2014, 15. Several market experimentation, the emergence and role of Dongju, North Korea's new mercantile class. But a number of mobile phone subscriptions in North Korea indicates the country is heading toward more information-oriented. But the gap between South Korea and North Korea is just too large. And this is evolution of central planning. So North Korea tried everything in terms of central planning. The last one, 2016 to 2020, but no successful results. North Korea, South Korea comparison has no meaning, but some people prefer actual disparity between two nations rather than rhetoric. So this is a good indicator. Okay, this chart shows birth rate. Very good sign of economy's healthiness. In terms of South Korea, at least birth rate statistics is inferior to North Korea. So a lot of people are worried because North Korea's population structure is better than South Korea's population structure. But in the long run, North Korea life expectancy at birth, North Korea cannot catch up South Korea. Mortality rate, infant mortality rate, just inevitably North Korea is higher than South Korea. North Korea estimated GNI per capita stood at 8 million in 2018, just 3.9% of South Korea's. North Korea's trade in 2018 is about 123 over 23rd over South Korea's. Steel production, North Korea versus South Korea, too large difference. Cement production too. According to my work, 2019, North Korea's labor productivity in 2017 is roughly less than 5% of South Korea's labor productivity. Okay. So here is a lengthy bibliography. The reason why I gave you this bibliography is to let them be used for your future study on very important nation, North Korea, and Asian economies in general. Okay, so why not share the information of bibliography? Okay, let us take a 5-minute break before we go to second presentation. Okay. 이건 다 정리가 되니?
관련해서 쫓아보고 있다가
다음 주에 우리가 내가 아직 뭐 파이널이라고 그래가지고 자네한테 보낸 거 없지.
이런 문제를 주신 게 있는데 그게 정말 문제였던 게 있는 것 같습니다.
내가 이번 주 내로 보낼게. 두 번째 화면을 내가 열어놓은 상태지.
예, 예.
이미 공유하고 있는 상태지. Okay, let's move on to second PowerPoint. Second PowerPoint is much more theoretical and deals with the core problem of North Korean economy as part of a growth model. So this picture, this PDF, or this PowerPoint is much more difficult to understand because first one is fact finding. That much North Korea has been affected by sanctions and fell down in almost all economic criteria, downtrend. But this paper, I was trying to convince OECD and, for example, North Korean authorities why North Korea can be falling into poverty trap in the name of arduous trip, why it cannot be sustainable, it cannot be helped out by themselves. In other words, that by theoretical explanation was very difficult. But without theory, you cannot explain anything. Economic theory is important because only economic theory can tell us what was wrong. So my model, North Korea, if you go through it, is based on North Korean poverty model. And this is basically so-called Herod-Doma model. So I'm not creating my own model separately to explain North Korean poverty trap. I'm using whatever available. And these Herod-Doma model based on so-called Leontief production function like this. So if we interpret Leontief production function, it goes like this. So horizontal axis is capital per output. I mean, per person. So per person capital is like in regular neoclassical capitalist economy, this will be something like that. Like something like this. This is normal capitalistic society's production function, so-called, right? So what it means, as you increase capital per person, per capita capital, output is decreasing. At the beginning, you catch up very rapidly, but at the beginning, diminishing returns. So this green line is uh, typical neoclassical capitalistic society's production function. Okay, on the vertical axis is a production function, production as a function of K as you increase. But in Leontief production function per capita terms in North Korea, because it's very rigid society, it has slope to be divided by this slope. So as you increase K, it's good. It can increase. But up to only be over a point above, output stalls. Output cannot continue to increase. Output is at B level, fixed. This is a kind of um, non-capitalistic society and heterodoma society. For K, B less than dB divided by less than K, capital is fully employed. For K, B greater than the A, the quantity of capital used is constant, and Y is a constant multiple B of labor, as shown in figure 1. So it should be noted that as K approaches infinity, the marginal product of capital is zero. As Barrow and Saloy Martin notes, the key inother condition is satisfied, but production function does not yield any endogenous steady state growth. We are looking at this situation. North Korea is trapped here. You can increase K, but FK output is not increasing. This is a trap, kind of poverty trap. So I don't know whether you should go through all these mathematics of dynamics and growth model, what we call. All I can explain is by this Herodoma model schematic picture, and A and B is FK means savings rate uh, divided by K, N plus delta is N is population growth rate, delta is depreciation rate. And what it shows, savings, domestic savings should be greater than n plus delta. That is population growth rate plus domestic depreciation rate. Let me say n is 2%, delta is 3%, then savings rate should be at least more than 5% here. That way you can avoid population poverty. As long as n plus delta, that is 2% plus 3%, 5%, cannot be reached national savings rate, then you are continuously falling down, falling into poverty trap. So I'm suggesting if you live alone, North Korea, North Korean economy cannot be heading for strong K. Even if it reaches here, it can come back. K can be minimalized. Poverty step can be followed up. So when international institutions like United States, World Bank helps out, North Korea, the effective way is keep up savings at highest level. In other words, enough funds should be injected to blue line so that they can overcome poverty trap. They can overcome poverty trap. They need large magnitude of assistance to make n plus delta curve into as far as high as a blue line. So that's my theoretical implications. The result of estimation of labor productivity is, of course, miserable. When we put together estimation, keeping all the things, and if you look at various statistics, you see our estimate of labor productivity in North Korea almost it becomes stagnant since 2014. We struggled a lot to get right estimate for North Korea. For example, our method relies on their government budget, and they cannot rely on government budget, so we indirectly estimate it using government budget. We try to estimate GDP. Okay, and as I showed by theoretical model like this and figure 1, North Korea economy needs a kind of breakthrough. Breakthrough can come from their old structural transformation. What do I mean by structural transformation? For example, estimation in North Korea highlights and if this is Korea's labor productivity trend, Vietnam's labor productivity trend, North Korea's labor trend is worst, a lot lower than Vietnam. And there is no reason why North Korea's labor productivity should be so low, even below Vietnam. We may pose the question, and we can think that it is due to the system. As I explained, theoretical model, you need to make your residence savings rate. You see, this is the key picture theoretically. Why Vietnam? Why North Korea's productivity is a lot lower than Vietnam? As we saw the picture, the reason is because there is no policy to make this n plus delta is this straight line, right? So above straight line to make North Korea's savings rate be lifted up to blue line. That's the key. Because domestically, their savings rate cannot be greater than 3%, 5%. The only alternative is to make this black line to green line or, blue line. The only way is what? Lift up savings rate. So domestic savings is so much, it cannot be increased. So foreign savings should help us increase to blue line. The only option is to import foreign capital. To import foreign capital, their system should become open. That's the only solution, theoretical. So how should we make North Korean system as open as possible to any kind of foreign investment, to make this curve into blue line, and only blue line can avoid n plus delta, or can be above n plus delta. Only blue line can afford avoiding poverty trap. How can you make a blue line? You have to increase savings rate. By one means, by importing a lot of foreign capital. How can you import a lot of foreign capital? You have to open up your system. Not continuous making nuclear power. Nuclear power continuous making does not help your investment flow into. So then much theory is important. I was trying to show the North Korean authority and South Korean authority and other interested parties, international institutions. The only possibility to make North Korea avoid poverty trap, falling into another poverty trap, is to make their system open to all kinds of foreign investment, so that they can lift up their savings schedule to blue line. Avoid poverty step. That's the only message, theoretically. And empirically, they can avoid poverty trap and lower productivity, lowest productivity country in Asia. What a shame. Such a brilliant economy, brilliant human capital they have. Why their productivity should be as low as lowest country in Asia. Okay. So this ends my lecture on North Korea, and I hope you can share some of the key features of North Korean economy. And this also ends this semester's my lecture, and happened to be North Korea was the last lecture, but important nation for all of us, because it has a huge development potential for Russia, for Manchuria and the Siberia area. So it depends on North Korea's openness. So I think Russia should continue exercise pressure and provide help to North Korea to open up their system, so that Manchuria, Siberia development can continue. Okay, so this ends my lecture today, and I appreciate all of your deep attention throughout the semester, and I hope you enjoyed my lecture. Thank you. For any questions and comments, we have several minutes.
흰방에 질문이 있어요.
응?
흰방에 질문이 있어요.
뭐,
채팅창에 질문이 있어요.
잘한데? 뭐가 잘한데?
채팅방에 질문, 네. 아, 네.
응.